I am not desensitized to graphic violence. Stop telling people that. Stop saying that. Anyway, let's go watch some graphic violence. Netflix. Everyone has it for some fucking reason, and even after all these years and quite frankly much better streaming platform alternatives, it's still the #1 streaming service in terms of subscribers. And I decided I'm going to take a look at the platform's, well, one of the platform's most highly praised horror movies, that being Hush, so that you don't have to. I'm pretty sure this experience is going to make me want to kill myself. Let's get into the movie, shall we? The movie begins with our main character Maddie cooking a bunch of food, and I'm not gonna lie, this is quite possibly the best looking food I've ever seen in a movie. As she's cooking the food, we cut to her perspective where we hear nothing but the sound of wind signaling to us that Maddie is deaf. And given the look on her face, we can also assume that she thinks she's bad at cooking. That meat you're cooking says otherwise. Maddie gets a message from her neighbor, Sarah, asking if she can come over. Maddie says yes, and because it's her neighbor, Sarah's there within the minute. She returns Maddie her book and starts fangirling over the book once Maddie asks her opinion. Maddie forgets that she has food in the oven, and that causes Chekhov's fire alarm to go off, causing both of the ladies to go inside and take care of it. Sarah leaves and Maddie gets a text from a guy named Craig, which she promptly deletes. She sits down to work on her next book, but she sucks at writing apparently, so she decides, let's FaceTime Craig. But she instantly decides not to FaceTime Craig, but then promptly changes her mind to FaceTime Craig anyway, but then decides, no, and decides not to FaceTime Craig. And because he got all those notifications, King Craig over here calls Maddie back. She denies it. Maddie decides to clean up the mess from all the food she fucked up, and just at that moment, Sarah pounds on the door, screaming for help because apparently she forgot that Maddie is deaf and can't fucking hear a thing. And apparently can't fucking see it too, because she should definitely be able to see Sarah fucking pounding on the door, screaming for help from that angle, but whatever. Maybe she also seriously needs glasses. Let's move on. Sarah gets killed by the man. He is credited as the man. He has no other name throughout the entire movie, so because of that, we're gonna make up a name as we go along. And in this case, I'm going with the Phantom of the Opera. Sarah gets killed by the Phantom of the Opera right behind Maddie. He knocks on the door and realizes that she can't hear him. He drags the body away and enters the house somehow. Which begs the question, why didn't Sarah do that? And why the fuck does she leave her door unlocked? He taps his knife on the table to get Maddie's attention, still not understanding that Shotty can't fucking hear. Maddie's sister calls her and they have some stupid pointless conversation about shit that's not gonna matter, like how she's single and hasn't dated anybody in a while. Ghostface from that MTV TV show ends up taking Maddie's phone and using it to take pictures of Maddie throughout the house and sends them to her on her laptop. She looks at the photos and then promptly looks up to realize that her door is unlocked and open. She gets up to look through the crack in the door and sees not Michael Myers, and at that very moment they both rush to the door, her to close it, him to get inside. They both realize that she has other doors and quickly rush to get to them. Why the fuck does she have all this shit unlocked, and how in the hell did Sarah not get inside? Did she go to the only locked door in her entire fucking house? Apparently, yes. Out of options to enter, Buffy the Vampire Slayer immediately knows where the circuit breaker is and heads right towards it. By the way, I've never seen a circuit breaker outside the house before, but in all fairness, that might just be a fucking suburbs house thing. I don't know. Let me know if your circuit breaker is outside your house instead of in your basement like a normal person. Maddie tries to call the police, but because she has no power, she cannot FaceTime 911, unfortunately. They have a quick little staring contest before he decides to go fuck up her tire. Maddie decides to write a message saying that she didn't see anything, she didn't see his face, and that her boyfriend is coming home soon. Little does she know that he actually overheard that little conversation between her and her sister and knows that she's going through it right now. He takes off his mask so that she can see his face and then perfectly recounts the part of the conversation where she tells her sister that she's going through it. Impeccable memory, by the way. I don't even know what fucking shirt I'm wearing right now, but I can tell you what hoodie I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing the limited edition. The Boo hoodie. Buy the Boo hoodie. I'm selling the Boo hoodie. Buy it, please. He goes on to say that he can get into the house whenever he wants and kill her. He's just going to make her want to actually die first. Which makes me glad I'm not in this movie because my stupid ass would say some shit like, okay, I'm going to take a nap. and fucking unlock the door and be like, I still want to live though, so you can't come in and kill me. And then I would proceed to go take a nap. I mean, I would actively tease and berate this motherfucker, which I know is unwise and will definitely lead to my death. But again, I'm fucking stupid, and I won't even let the prospect of fucking death stop me from making a shitty joke. Maddie, being the genius she is, pulls out a tiny knife so that she can defend herself against someone with a fucking crossbow. She then goes into her kitchen cabinet and pulls out a hammer, just in case the knife can't cut it. She runs off to a random room and shoves a desk in front of the door. The Jesse Pinkman looking ass motherfucker ends up finding it with incredible speed and intensity and ends up using the hand of the now deceased Sarah, making me remember Maddie's terrible peripheral vision while at the same time making me realize that she had no idea that fucking Sarah was dead. I don't know, I just assumed she knew. I don't know why. Maddie leaves the room in a panic and begins to cry because she just lost her number one fan. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd react the same way if I had any fans. She remembers Sarah put her phone in her ass pocket and decides to set off a car alarm to distract Bottom Blake Nelson and get him away from the body. Maddie rushes over to Sarah's body, and after filling up her dead friend's corpse for a bit, Buzzcut comes back, and him and Maddie struggle with the window for a bit before Maddie ultimately decides, fuck this shit, and shoves the nail remover side of a fucking hammer in his forearm instead of jamming that bitch in his forehead. But, I'd personally do that differently. Maddie closes the window and watches Jesse Pinkman use the hand he realistically shouldn't be able to use anymore to pick up a knife and fashion himself a good old-fashioned homemade bandage made from clothes. He reveals something that probably everybody with fucking common sense figured out by now, along with doing some weird shit with Sarah's earring. This causes Maddie to walk away, causing Jesse Pinkman to bang on the door to get her attention, again forgetting that she's deaf. This guy's not really bright, is he? Maddie logically decides that she needs to get the fuck out of there, so she straight up just leaves the fucking house. As she's making her daring escape, Jesse appears and forces her to hide under the porch. He leaves and she runs, but because he's not fucking deaf and he can hear her, he shoots a crossbow, causing Maddie to run back into her house and closing the door. He fires another shot that also doesn't hit her, and let me just say two things. One, Shotty, start collecting these fucking arrows. He only has like 3 arrows, and if you grabbed them, not only would he have like 1 left, he's also clearly not an expert marksman. And 2, rush his ass. He's reloading that shit slow as fuck. You have more than enough time to fucking tackle that bitch to the ground and stab him with the arrow you should have picked up. He taunts her for a bit and she runs upstairs, and at this point, I'm starting to think he cannot answer whenever he wants. Cause he tries to go through the window, but she locked it, which made him give up. And he was actively shooting at her, trying to kill her, until she closed the door and locked it, in which case he immediately stopped. But whatever, moving on. Maddie grabs a flashlight, heads out to the roof, and she throws the flashlight to distract Jesse Pinkman. And let me just say, this is not a real person. This is a fucking stealth challenge enemy. He fucking gets attacked by literally anything and everything. Even things that are obvious fucking distractions. That just, I don't know, man. It just go in and kill her, man. This shit honestly just is not worth the effort, but whatever. Anyway, she tries to climb off her roof, but Bullseye over here fucking shoots her in the leg, and she jumps back just as she shoots another arrow that misses her. Jesse then decides to climb the house onto the roof. And as soon as he gets up there, Maddie has a bright idea to grab the crossbow and punch him in the face, instead of grabbing the crossbow, taking the arrow out of the crossbow, and stabbing him in the face. She tries to load the crossbow, but she can't do it in time, so she yet again decides to retreat in the house and close the apparently impenetrable glass window. She retreats into the bathroom where she starts mending the arrow hole that's in her leg. Good job, Hawkeye. And tries to reload the crossbow. While she's doing this, the man is watching her and tries to strike up a conversation with her, forgetting that she's deaf. And then there's a knock on the door, which of course Maddie can't hear because she's fucking deaf, but the man can't. He rushes over and sees Sarah's boyfriend, John. John starts asking the man some questions about what's going on in Maddie's house and what happened to Sarah, because of fucking course he is. Look at this place. The man asks to borrow John's phone in order to call him for backup, and when John gives it to him, the man does the worst fake phone call I have ever seen in my life, before promptly putting John's phone in his back pocket. The man tells John some random bullshit to add to his cover story. John asks for his phone back, and while the man takes the phone out of his pocket, He also accidentally takes out Sarah's necklace, which drops out onto the floor. The man doesn't notice it, but John does, and immediately decides that he would like to find out what the inside of his skull looks like, and tries to coerce the man into a vulnerable position so that he can fuck him up with a rock. But right before John manages to paint the dirt red, Maddie starts banging on the front door and distracts John, giving the man a golden opportunity to see what the inside of John's neck looks like. And I just want to cut in here and say, Maddie, I don't want you to survive unharmed. You're genuinely not smart. Don't get me wrong, the man isn't smart either. I don't think you're under the right to live through the movie too. But like, you can't make it out good. An arrow hole in the leg and infinite mental turmoil is not enough. You need to lose a limb or some shit. Like, that's the only way I'll accept you surviving this movie. Anyway, John died because, you know, knife in the throat will do that to you. But the fucking legend, John, manages to like still tackle the man to the floor and hold his ass in a chokehold. And Maddie, with all her wits about her, decides to try and load up the crossbow that we already know she cannot load. Instead of, you know, running, or more intelligently, running up to that motherfucker and stabbing him in the face with the arrow you already have. John tells her to run, which makes her finally decide to do something smart and run. But once she gets to the door, she decides that she can't realistically outrun the man on that leg and that she'll probably die outside if she tries. Which, fair enough. John finally dies. RIP my boy, he should not have died for her. Maddie sits down and reviews her options.
You can't outrun him on that leg.
I can't outrun him on that
down
leg.
With a crossbow, but that has to be a perfect shot in the heart or in the brain.
Heart or the brain.
Anything else is not going to cut it.
Won't cut it.
And that's a long distance weapon.
That's a long distance weapon.
Pretty much useless indoors. It's
useless
really
indoors.
tough up close, and you'd have to be up close to land a kill shot. He'll be moving. Can't even figure out how to load the damn thing.
Get the power back on.
Go outside, get the power back on. You don't know if you flip
Call
the
for
switch or cut the wires. Hide it.
Hiding.
Bedroom, bathroom, loft. There are windows in each. All he needs is a rock.
And all he needs is a rock.
Loft doesn't have any cover, no doors to barricade, and best case scenario, he doesn't find you and you bleed to death.
Never finds me and I bleed to death.
Outside?
I could hide outside.
Crawl space? Go back outside.
Back to the crawl space.
The crawl space.
I've tried that once.
He knows you already tried that once. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. He figures out you're there.
He figures out I'm there.
And I don't think you last that long.
I don't think I last that
Cold.
long.
You're
I'm
dizzy.
so cold.
And you're sweaty. Your fingernails are turning blue and your vision's starting to go. We are running out of time. How long before you can't even walk or stand up or see? Sooner or later, he is coming in here.
He knows I'm bleeding out.
Once he is in this house, it is
Sooner or
over.
later,
He
he's
is
coming in.
bigger, stronger, and faster. And he's got the advantage.
He has the advantage.
He can hear you.
I can't run.
We can't hide. And we can't wait. You go outside, you're dead. Too many endings. They're all the same.
All the same.
Which means there's only one ending he won't expect. He can't run, hide, or wait. What does that leave?
She comes to the conclusion that she absolutely has to kill him. No fucking shit. Are you telling me that she just realized killing him is a viable option? Are you fucking serious? Anyway, the man finds Maddie's cat, who is legit named Bitch, making me hate you a little less, Maddie, and decides to kill it. But Maddie decides that she's gonna start being competent and shoots that motherfucker in the chest. And he takes that shit like it's a fucking airsoft pellet and starts dashing towards Maddie. Maddie runs back inside but drops an arrow. She reaches to grab it, but the man slams the door in her hand and steps on her fingers. Maddie gets her hand back inside, locks the door, and the man says he's gonna come inside. She says, do a pussy with her blood. And I take back anything bad I've said about Maddie because holy shit, I'm starting to actually like you now. The man grabs a crowbar from his car and starts beating the shit out of the glass. And holy fuck, either the glass is insanely fucking strong, or he's really fucking weak and has no reason being the threat that he is in this movie. Either way, that kind of explains that he just gave up whenever she locked something. Maddie quickly types out the description of the man on her computer, says a final goodbye to her family, telling them that she died fighting. She picks up the knife that she definitely could have used earlier and runs towards the loft bathroom where she waits for the man to come and get her. Some the fuck how, he gets in. I think he drilled a hole in the ceiling or something, I don't know. He goes in to stab her, but in the last possible second, she pulls a fucking attack dodge and stabs him in the kneecap. I don't think that this motherfucker should be able to walk after that. Maddie gets out of there, but starts to feel a little dizzy and collapses on the kitchen floor. Not long after that, the indomitable human spirit kicks in and the man gets the fuck up and heads towards her and tries to make another move. But since Maddie is fucking with this clown at this point, she sprays him in the eyes with fucking insecticide. Maddie gets out, whips out Chekhov's fire alarm, which I fucking call, and disorientates him further with the blaring noise. Somehow, the insecticide that she sprayed in his eyes only manages to temporarily blind the man for a few seconds, instead of, fucking permanently, like it should, and he beats Maddie to the ground and begins choking her. Maddie begins to get a little life flashing before her eyes and reaches for the corkscrew and shoves that bitch in his throat. She watches him die on top of her and then takes her phone out of his pocket and calls 911. She gets up, walks out on her porch, and sits with her cat that is still alive. And the movie comes to a close with the police showing up in less than 5 minutes because somehow, even though she didn't utter a single word, they knew that a white woman was in danger. Now, this movie has a lot of issues, mainly with Maddie and John Gilligan Jr.'s character, who's literally just credited as man. Both of them just aren't smart. Maddie doesn't think through her decisions very well throughout the entire movie until the very end, where she's a legit badass and shows that if she wanted to, had she tried, she could have easily killed him. And the man is just not smart enough. He's just not smart enough to feel like a legit threat. He realistically should have made quick work of Maddie with the way she was acting throughout the beginning of the movie, especially with her not making great survival decisions. She was very sloppy, not careful, easy to find. He was also just being straight up dumb, Like, especially after she took his crossbow and he knew she didn't know how to load it. Like, at that point, I would be like, okay, she has a weapon. She can attack me with this. It's only a matter of time before she ends up, figuring it out. I need to fucking, get this shit over with. Man also gets distracted very easily. My comment about him being like a stealth challenge enemy, it's true. He's like an enemy from one of the MJ or Miles missions from Spider-Man 2018. And actually, I think he might be easier to distract than they are, in all honesty. And by the end, I definitely feel like he should have been smart enough to realize if he was being duped or not by Maddie, but apparently he just wasn't.
John, the fucking legend that he is, didn't even have to die. He was by far the smartest character in the movie, mainly because he acted the way you'd expect a real person to act in real life.
He gets weird vibes from that guy and has no reason to trust the story, and he doesn't. He sees a smoking gun, and instead of acting irrationally or ignoring it, he formulates a plan that he knows the man would have to go with if he wants to keep his cover story. Even if the man might know it's a little bullshit, he still has to go along with it. This movie also had a lot of jump scares, at least way more than I was expecting. And none of them really worked, not even for the momentary shock of someone jumping at you or something unexpected happening, you knew they were coming, but you didn't feel a sense of dread or terror or something like that, which kind of equated to you not really feeling anything when you actually saw the jump scare happen. Overall, I think this movie has a weak beginning, middle, and a very strong end. And I think that the end kind of makes people forget about the rest of the movie, which is pretty subpar and mediocre. Nothing about this movie really stands out much, not the performances, the suspense, violence, kills. Nothing really stands out as even good, particular. Not bad, but not good either. It's just very mid-tier, I honestly don't understand why this movie is so highly rated and praised by a lot of people. And I also don't really get why it's held as one of the most disturbing movies on Netflix when it's actually just a pretty average mid to low budget horror movie. I give Hush a 4 out of 10, which is higher than what I give Thor Love and Thunder, so hey, at least there's that. Let me know if you want me to review more movies or TV shows in the future and what those movies and TV shows are. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment. I fucking hate you, you fucking pig. I fucking hate you. Go die in a corner. I fucking hate you. If you want to buy a Boo hoodie, there's the link down in the description where you can buy your own along with other shitty designs that I made that I thought were funny. See you next time when I reveal I'm actually a 5'7" Spanish woman who's roaming the world looking for true love before I ultimately realize I need to learn to love myself before others can love me, and that true love was in front of me the entire time. It's Needle. True love is heroin, kids. Bye.
Police sound smelling like that gas. Bitch, that's my cologne. Bitch, that's my cologne.
Your hair changed all of a sudden. Your hair changed all of a sudden. Shut the fuck up.